Hi, y'all. It's Rick here with Uncommon Communion, recording for Thursday. Now, I did something that I have not done since I started this Psalm Journey project recording series on January 1st with Psalm 1. I skipped a day. Yeah, I did not post anything for the 18th, which was Wednesday. That would have been Psalm 77. And here I am posting for Thursday, which is Psalm 78. I think I might have warned you coming into this week that it was going to be a busy one, and that has proven to be the case. And I'll share that with you here in just a moment. And I will share on the Psalms as well. Before that, though, let's begin as we always begin by recognizing, realizing, celebrating, and affirming that we are always and everywhere in the holy presence of the more and each other. So, I believe I mentioned here that I have one career job, a second Saturday job, and a third now seasonal job. And yesterday, two of those jobs combined, and today, the main job and the Saturday job combined. Both of those are giving me long days and leaving me pretty tired. Yesterday, it was a trip out of town to do a training and then home, actually, not even home, right to a site where I am training to be a trainer. And that was 3 hours last night and took a lot out of me. I didn't get enough sleep last night, so I woke up kind of tired. But here's the thing, y'all. When I teach or train, I am energized. The problem is, afterwards, I'm pretty whooped. And today I did a teaching and a training, pretty high intensity, high energy, today being Wednesday. And then I had a really nice dinner and just celebration of the new ownership of the winery where I work. And I think what I was appreciating, what I am appreciating, even as I am tired and ready to hit the hay over there, y'all, is just how grateful I am for the work that I do, even if it leaves me pretty tired. Here's the thing, y'all. A number of years ago, I think I've probably shared with you here that I was a Catholic high school teacher and I taught religion. And early on in my career, and it was really almost next year to be 35 years since I started that part of my career. I ended up 18 years in the classroom, so about half of my career so far. And it was great in many ways. It became for me untenable, right? Because as the country changed, as the church changed, as I changed in response to those, I couldn't defend that anymore. I couldn't speak the party line for Catholicism. I couldn't give the Orthodox teachings. Also, y'all, I'm a strong LGBTQ plus advocate. And that's been something I've always been. I had to do that very quietly and carefully when I was a Catholic school teacher. I think my queer students knew that I supported them and loved them and wanted to give the best I could to them. But I couldn't say that, not directly anyway. Now I can. I'm in a job, all three of my jobs, that give me freedom and flexibility. And they let me do what I love to do, which is to teach and to train without any homework. That's the best part of it. Because especially as I was really struggling in the past in the classroom in those last few years, I was also drowning in a sea of homework and grading and lesson planning and dealing with parents and answering emails. It just became too much, too much. So I'm grateful for what I have now. I'm grateful for the history that I am building with the two jobs that are my career and my winery job. Career job, I just celebrated 4 years this month, like this week, probably. So 4 years. And then with my winery job, it will be in October, it'll be 14 years. I've been there almost since the winery opened. So it's been a big deal, that particular part of my life. And I'm tired. My body is weary, and yet I am grateful, deeply, deeply grateful. Gratitude, y'all, in this time period is tough. With current events like they are, having a job that I love and I'm good at, and I think I do good through all three of those jobs. That's something important. All right, let's talk about the Psalms here. So Psalm 77 is 20 verses. It's kind of a little bit long. Psalm 78, would you believe, y'all, is really the longest psalm I think we have encountered, and one of the longer ones in the Bible. 72 verses. Yeah, 78 is 72. So I'm only going to read a verse or two from each one that kind of stands out to me. And I actually have the printed version of this. I've had the Kindle version, and now I have the printed version. So I both of these follow a theme that we've heard before, right? In the Psalms, the psalmist crying out, God, where are you? And, my enemies and so forth, rescue me, help me, right? And these two Psalms, each in their own way, are um, reminding us and reminding the psalmist that God has done great things for us, right? That God has been with us and helped us and delivered us from challenges in the past. And that gives the psalmist, and I think it should give us, the faith and the hope and the confidence that God is doing that now, right? So, a verse that stands out from each one, 77, verse 7. So 77, 7. It says, Has our great spirit chief cast us away once and for all? Will he never again show us the gift of his great kindness? And it can feel like that, y'all. We look at the world right now. I look at this Iran war. I keep wanting to say Iraq war because, we fought two there and now it's Iran. But the Iran war and just the insanity of the people leading this, and the craziness and the lying and the cover-ups and all of that. It's easy to say, okay, God, where are you? You've abandoned us. And I don't think that's it at all, because I do believe that there is the goodness of the more that infuses all of creation. And there is, I believe, as Dr. King said, the arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And I do think God wants us, helps us, delivers us. God does not cast us away. God does not pull back and abandon us, right? And one of the greatest archetypal examples of that in all the Bible is the Exodus, right? God freeing the Hebrews from slavery, bringing them through the desert, saving them from their slavers, the Egyptians, and then ultimately delivering them into a better place. But you know what, y'all? The Bible tells us it took 40 years. It took 2 generations to be able for God to do that. So that's a long time, right? And Psalm 76 tells that story. It reminds the people of that story and all the things God did. And that's part of why it's so long, because it's pretty detailed and mostly about the Exodus. But it comes to verse 52, and the psalmist says this, and I think this will be our hope, I believe. But as for his people, the great shepherd led them through the desert wilderness like a flock of sheep, right? We get many times in the New Testament this image of Jesus as good shepherd, right? And that's, I think, such a calming, welcoming image. We are reminded, even though it doesn't feel good to be called sheep, and we've probably heard the insult sheeple, right? And it seems like there's a lot of that going around. A lot of people following false prophets and diabolical and evil actors and actions, right? But there is that good. And the great shepherd, leads us, has led us, and I believe will continue to lead us. All right, y'all. I hope with that hopeful note that that will bring some hope in these times for us. So I appreciate your watching. I appreciate your patience as I navigate this challenging and busy time for me. And thanks for watching. Thanks for liking this video. Please put some likes and some love out there. And as always, y'all, blessing and good. Be bold, be well, hold fast, y'all.